the UFC is obviously the greatest organization when it comes to MMA right now, but there are other champions out there. What if Nick Diaz was to come to the UFC? How do you think you would do against him? And how do you think he would do in the UFC?
I would love to see Nick Diaz in the UFC. I
So
really
you would love to fight Nick Diaz?
It'd be a great fight. I think
Heck
Nick
yeah.
Diaz is a very colourful character, and I enjoyed him when he was in the UFC, and I enjoy watching his escapades now he's not in the UFC. You know what I mean? I think he's an interesting guy, and I think that coming back to the UFC, it'd be a good addition to the division. He'd make some great fights.
Why don't you like Josh Koscheck?
Let's have a show of hands who likes Josh Koscheck. Who's a fan of Josh Koscheck? What, 7, 8?
He just converted to pounds there.
I don't know. My opinion is if you like Josh Koscheck, then you've not met the guy. That's my opinion. You know, I just have different values to Josh Koscheck. I don't fake eye pokes or knees to the head and things like that, and I don't bitch and moan, and you know. And you got to understand. I just beat Mike Swick a week before and got my title shot, and then I went to UFC 106, feeling good about myself, having a great time, sat right at the side of the octagon, and as soon as Josh Koscheck won his fight, he called me out. So, you know, I wanted to kick him in his teeth right then, but I couldn't. So, I've kind of stored this inside of me. So, I sound like I'm a little bitter, but I do have good reason to be.
Who do you think will win the GSP Koscheck fight?
That's a fun fight. Yeah.
Do you think it's just a matter of who gets the first takedown, or?
I don't know. I've been asked this question quite a lot because obviously I fought GSP and I don't like Koscheck. So, people ask me this a lot. It could go one of two ways, because the last time they fought, Koscheck assumed that nobody would be able to take him down, so he wasn't working his wrestling. And now I think he realizes that, you know, he can be taken down by other fighters, and so he's going to be back on his wrestling. So I can see him stuffing some of GSP's takedowns, which means that he might be able to force him into a stand-up fight, and then it's anybody's fight. It's either going to be a stand-up fight and someone's getting knocked out, or we're going to see 25 minutes of spooning, and I'm not sure which.
So my question is, after your loss to GSP, a lot of people blame the lack of a strong wrestling background in British fighters. So could you please talk about the state of wrestling in the UK and kind of what's being done to improve this area of the fight game out there?
It's pretty much left to the fighters. You know, we've got a few wrestling coaches coming over to the UK and working with guys, but it's on the fighters. You know, if we feel that we need to work on our wrestling, we've got to go and find it. I know that some fighters are bringing guys over. There's a guy called Kenny that's been coming over to the Rough House quite a lot and helping out the guys. And, you know, it's just, I mean, I go out to LA and I've got a bunch of Division 1 guys out there that are, you know, kicking my ass every day. So that's what I'm doing for it. But everyone's different. I mean, we've got some guys in the UK have got good judo backgrounds, and, you know, that transfers quite well to MMA sometimes. So it varies. I mean, it really is on the fighters, though. If you want to get good at wrestling, you've got to go and find it.
Thanks.
Hey, do you think Dana White was harsh on Paul Daly when he kicked him out of the UFC?
That was only the sixth question. That took a little longer than I thought it would.
It's a good question. You know, I mean, obviously I'm biased because Paul's a good friend of mine. I've been training with Paul for, you know, over 8 years now. So we're like brothers, and it was frustrating. I mean, I was sitting right at the side of the octagon when the fight was going on, and it was just frustrating to watch because I know Paul's potential, but it was a bad call. You know, it was a bad thing to do. He shouldn't have done it. And you know, we need to prove. You know, the sport's still growing, so we need to show the rest of the world that is hating on MMA at the moment. We need to show the rest of the world that, you know, we're professionals. And Paul just made a bad mistake, and unfortunately, you know, that was the thing that Dana thought was right to do at the time. And you know, that's not my decision to make. I'm disappointed for Paul, but I can't say it was a bad decision because it was a silly thing to do, and he knows that.